That just made me sad. Hi party people! So today we're doing the TBR jar is picking my summer reads. I'm doing summer reads. Instead of a typical like monthly TBR, I'm doing it like just for the summer because I'm like such a mood reader. So to me, like having a whole TBR for a month kind of constricts me, I feel. And I've gotten in such bad reading slumps before doing that, so I thought if I just did it for the summer, I could pull all of like my summer reads out, try and hit as many prompts as possible, and I feel like there's more room. Like I could read whichever book whenever I want, and I could add extra books in there. So for this video, I pulled as like much of my summer reads out as I could possibly do. So I have like a stack to the side of me that has all of like my quote-unquote summer reads. Like they take place in the summer, or they generally like kind of give summer vibes, which I think would be like perfect for this kind of weather. And then I think I'm probably gonna pick like 12-ish books. So the way the TBR jar works is I have a bunch of prompts in this jar, and I'll pick one and I'll pick a book that aligns with the prompt on the piece of paper. Why don't we just jump right into it? Let me give it a pretty good shake. Alrighty. All the prompts. Let's go. Alright, first one. Got a couple stuck together. Alright. Book with a musician, main character. Book with a musician, main character. Alright. Let me have a look. Alright, so none of the books in my little summer stack that I had kind of fulfilled the requirement, so I only have 2 books on my shelf where there's like a musician main character. I didn't look at my fantasy books, if I'm being completely honest, because I didn't think there would be a musician. So I only have 2. The first one that I have is Lilac by B.B. Reed. This is kind of, I soft DNF'd this book probably like 2-ish years ago. I started reading it, got like 20 pages in. I was like, I am not completely into this book right now. I'll try reading it another time. I think like the gist of it is like this band loses their guitarist and she joins the band as the new guitarist. And there's kind of like, I think it's like a reverse like harem maybe. I'm not sure. Not entirely sure what it's about, if we're being completely honest. And then I have the second book, Not Another Love Song by the Julie Soto. I also not really sure what this book is about. A lot of the books on my shelf, I'm like not 100% sure what they're about. I kind of like read a gist of it, get a good idea of what it is. And if I like the cover and like the blurb on the back, I get it. And I kind of forget what it's about. But I think she's a violinist and he's a cellist. So they're different kind of like musicians. This is more like classical musician, and this is kind of more like rock style musician. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna pick. This one I also got on my trip that me and my mom took to the Bahamas a couple months ago. So I like to get like a book every time I like go to a new place, and I think it's kind of like fun. But I'm honestly not sure I'm gonna pick. They're kind of like completely different vibes. I think I'm gonna pick Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. This one seems like it'll be really like lighthearted and really fun and romantic, and I think like this would be a very refreshing kind of like summer vibe as compared to this like thick kind of like chunky book. All right, first one down. Let's give this a shake for prompt 2. All right, A book with a one-word title. Ooh, I got 2 on my little side stack that fulfilled my little summer stack that helped fulfill this. So I'm not even gonna look at the other books because first one we have Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howard. I heard that this book was really good. I saw another booktuber talking about this in a TBR video, and it seems really interesting. And so I was at my local bookstore, like my local small bookstore, and I saw it and I read the back and it was really interesting. It seems really like special and heartbreaking. And the bookseller there, she was actually saying telling me how much she loves this book and how beautiful the writing is. And after like having that conversation with her and just reading the back, I was like, I have to get this book. And like, I'm really excited about this book. I've been waiting for the chance to read this one. And then the second one I have on my stack is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the second book in the Maple Hill series. I also kind of soft DNF'd this one a while ago. I just kind of realized like I didn't quite remember the people from the first book, which is Icebreaker. It was kind of like all over Book Talk and all over everywhere when that one like first started getting popular on Book Talk and all of the places, and everybody started talking about it. But this is the second one. It's set kind of like in a summer camp. He plays hockey. I think they like met each other before the camp started, and then when they get to the summer camp, they're working as camp counselors, and they see each other and they're like realize they're coworkers, but they kind of like have history between the two of them. So I'm like really kind of looking forward to reading this one too. But I think honestly, because of how excited I am about Sunburn, I'm gonna go pick Sunburn. This like, I've been waiting for the chance to read this book. It seems like it's gonna be a really special read, and I'm really quite excited about this one. All right. Second book chosen with the TBR jar. Ready? Third one. Ooh, this one's a thick one. I know this, I try to make them all the same size, but this was the only one that was thick because I could write kind of big. So I kind of already know what this one is, but it's a book whose author starts with the same, the book whose author's name starts with the same letter as mine. All right. So I'm an A. So I'm going to look for authors who have A names. First or last. Let me have a look. All right. So one thing I learned doing that is that there's a lot of authors that I have with A first names. I grabbed a few. If I'm being honest, I grabbed a few. I grabbed a few to kind of go through. 2 of the books are on that little summer stack, and then the 4 other ones were just were other ones that are kind of on my radar for like the summertime and like right now, that weren't on my little like summer stack. The first 2 are from the stack. The first one is Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood. I love Allie Hazelwood's novels. I'll read anything she writes. I think I have copies of all of her books except for like her 2 audiobooks, and then she has a book of like novellas that I don't have. But I'm like really excited to read this one. I've like loved her since The Love Hypothesis. That book got me back into reading. I remember binging that book like so aggressively. Like I was taking a plane back home from like for the holidays, and it was like a red eye, and I'm just like at my little window seat, book open with the like light on in the cabin. I'm like, was the only one in the plane with the light on. It was very funny. Good thing I was in the window seat. If I was in the middle with that light on, the people next to me probably would have hated it. But I'm really looking forward to reading this. Don't know what it's about once again, but it's Allie Hazelwood, so I'll read it. Next book is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is the other book that was on my little summer stack that I had. I haven't read an Abby Jimenez book yet. I heard a lot of good things about her online from other readers, and there was not one of her books that really was like, I need to read this book, until this one came out, I think last summer, until I saw this one. The premise of this one is there's like 2 of them, and each of them, every time they break up with the person they're with, that person immediately finds their soulmate. So these 2 people meet up and they're like, let's date for the summer, and when we break up, we'll find the people we're meant to be with, and it'll cancel out the curse that they have, this quote-unquote curse. And I loved that like premise, and then I already heard that she's such a beautiful writer and a beautiful storyteller, so I was like, I think like this book is gonna be the one to get me on the Abby Jimenez trend. So I'm like really excited about this book. And then there's a little dog on the cover. Like their covers are so pretty. Let's speed run through these last 4, because I'm honestly probably gonna pick one of the first 2. But next we have Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. This is kind of like a sapphic fantasy book. The cover is like gorgeous. I have Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I read one Ashley Herring Blake book like on audio, I believe. This book came out like a while ago. It's like the start. It's the first book of like a series of interconnected standalones. This one seems really fun as well. I've Always Be My Duchess by Emily Howard. I love like a Regency book. I'm trying to finish all the Bridgerton books, or at least get caught up from when the TV show, get caught up with like the season that they're on, and then the book. But I got this like when I was like starting like my Bridgerton book obsession, because I already had the TV show obsession. But when I started reading the books, I kind of got on the Regency hype, so I got Always Be My Duchess. And then I have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I remember when everybody was talking about this. I also think this was like last year when everybody was talking about this. And I love the premise of this book. I think it's like so unique, and I'm really excited to read this book soon. But we're honestly gonna pick through one of these. I'm gonna go Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. It's set in the Italian Riviera. I know I'm gonna binge this book so quickly because Ali Hazelwood's writing I just like consume. Like literally consume. So I know this is gonna be so much fun for me. Alright, so we have the 3rd book on the TBR. Alrighty. Next poems. Do you want to pick that one? Okay. Let's do that one. Do you see them all flying out at me like that? Ooh. Shortest book on the TBR. I'm going to preface this with I do have some screenplays and poetry books that I'm not going to include in this shortest book. I'm only going to pick like, look at my novels for this. So I'm going to have a quick look. I'll be back. Okay, so I have like 4-ish contenders for books that could kind of be like the smallest book on my TBR. Some of these are rather kind of thick, but we have Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is 221 pages, so I think that's like, I'm gonna have books that are less than that. Next book, We Do What We Do in the Dark by Michelle Hart. This one's 211. Okay, so John Green is already beat out. This is the one to beat. What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. Ooh. Okay. This one's 158. And then how much was it? This was like 2 something. Yeah, like 213. So, sorry, Michelle Hart. One to beat is now What Moves the Dead. And then Tenders the Flesh. I think this This one's at like 180 something. Oh, 209. Okay. No tender is the flesh. All right. So I believe this is the shortest book. Yeah. On the TBR. What Moves the Dead by Teen Kingfisher. This, I'm pretty sure this is like a horror book. This is not pretty sure. This is a horror novel. This is a horror book. I've actually like never read anything like thriller horror before. So I'm kind of excited for it to be like a short kind of read to see if like I have interest in them. I do have like a few. Like all of these babies are like thriller horrors and I haven't read them. They just sound good. But this seems fun for shortest book on the TBR. Book number 5. Book that is intimidating. That's very interesting. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, if I'm being honest, finding a book that was intimidating was like kind of hard. I think books can be intimidating for many reasons. So I grabbed like 4 that are kind of like intimidating to me. Not because they're like big. I think big books can be intimidating, right? But if you like them a lot, like you could read the book no problem. You know, but I chose like these books based off of like I'm nervous if I'll like them or not, or they're popular, they're intimidating me, or kind of reasons like that. Not so much like kind of reasons like that, not so much that like the books are huge and like I don't want to read them kind of situation, even though some of these, one of them in particular is rather giant. The first book I have, we have The Chronicles of Narnia. This is a set that I got from Target that has all of the books inside of them. I'm not going to be reading all of the books. I'm just considering this as like the first book because I think there's like 7 in the Narnia series. But I have this categorized like on my TBR on my GOODREADS. Yeah, 7. I have this categorized on my GOODREADS as like all separate because I don't want to read the whole series just like straight through. I want to read like one book, let it sit. Like I could read the second one, let it sit, and so forth. So the first one for this one would be The Magician's Nephew. I love like the Narnia movies. I think they're so stunning. The books are kind of like intimidating in that sense of like, I don't know how I'll feel about the books. It's kind of like how I like very similar feelings come up for like, should I read Game of Thrones? Like, should I read The Hobbit and the Lord? Like those books, you know, like same kind of feelings, but I love the Narnia. So this is kind of intimidating for me in that kind of sense. Next book I have is Pride and Prejudice. I love the movie with Keira Knightley from like 2008. It's such a comfort movie. It's so funny, it's so witty. I've heard that the book is like beautiful, and this is intimidating for me too. I tried listening to a different Jane Austen book on audiobook, wasn't like absorbing it well, so I feel like I don't know how good I'll understand it, which is kind of why it's intimidating to me. Next book is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I have never read the Twilight series. A huge fan of the movies. I remember standing outside with my mom for like hours before the release of like New Moon to get to watch the movie and like waiting for like all of the special clips. I still remember seeing Breaking Dawn Part 2 in the theater for the first time, like on opening night. We would watch those movies like 7 times while they were in the theaters. Okay, I think we funded. Like, I think we're why. They were blockbuster hits, okay? But my mom actually got me like a special edition box set of them for Christmas. She's read the books. She loves the books. I still haven't read the books, which is so shocking because I'm such a reader. But yeah, this is intimidating for me just because of how much, like, I love the movies. I don't know how I feel about the books, but, like, feels like a rite of passage kind of read. And then next, I have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I love The Hunger Games. I love the books. I love the movies. I have multiple copies of, like, each book. I have special editions. I have paperbacks and I have hardbacks. I have them all. I actually DNF'd this one. The bookmark is still in there so I can pick up where I was before. I had a hard time kind of grasping what was happening in the book, I think, because this is like a prequel. So this is from the 12th Hunger Games, and the movies, the original trilogy of the movies is the 74th and the 75th. This one is the 12th Hunger Games, and it's written from President Snow's perspective. I think it was something like about that, and relearning like how different the whole capital was and the whole districts were, and seeing it from, it's the 10th Hunger Games, not the 12th. Seeing everything from, like, his point of view, it was very kind of this, like, I wasn't grasping it as much as possible. The movie is beautiful, but this is intimidating for me for that, because I'm like, I didn't have, like, the best time, like, I didn't understand it so much the first time, so I don't know how I feel about reading it the second time, but I have to get it done because it's the only one in the book series that I didn't read. I read Sunrise on the Reaping, and it was beautiful. And the trilogy, like, it's the Hunger Games trilogy is the only books I've ever reread. I've never reread any other books before other than the Hunger Games. And it's just, I'm nervous reading this one. Honestly, as much as, like, I feel like this one is, like, such the easy pick for me, it's a little too intimidating. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. But I think I'm going to go with Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I think kind of having a classic on the TBR will be such, like, so refreshing. And I think during the summer I'll be able to, like, give it my full undivided attention. I'll be able to fully, like, immerse myself in Jane Austen's writing and this story. And I think it'll just be perfect for this kind of season and this weather. All right, 5 down. Number 6, people. Number 6. Do you guys want to pick again? Yeah, that one? Okay. All right. Book with a strong female lead. I'm going to go with Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is on that, like, summer stack. Even though it's not really set in the summer, I think tennis gives very summery vibes, and Carrie Soto is, like, a tennis champion, and she went to retirement, and now she's coming back. She feel like what I read from the back, even, like, the first sentence, it says Carrie Soto is fierce, and her determination to win at any cost has not made her popular. And to me, that kind of gives, like, strong energy, not just, like, strong physically, but also just, like, strong mentally and, like, her personality wise. So I think, like, this is such, like, the strong, like, female lead. And I love Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. The only book I've ever read of hers was Daisy Jones and the Six. And even though I have like, multiple books of hers, that's the only one I've read. But the feeling that book gave me was, like, such a good one, and her writing is, like, so stunning. So I know this book will be, like, so good, and I'm really excited about this one. All right, you guys are picking good prompts. All right, number 7. I'll pick this one. You'll pick the next one. A bunch of them came out. Neat. Okay. Book with multiple POVs. Multiple POVs. Okay, 2 of the books on my, like, summer stack have multiple POVs, and they were in other grabs that I didn't pick, so this is very cool that both of these were, so they get a chance to be on the TBR. We have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and then we have Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I think I'm gonna go with Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I want to move forward in the Maple Hills series also. I really want to read the third book. I think it's called Daydream. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's called Daydream. I know it's purple, the book. But after watching Off Campus and reading The Deal, like, I'm ready for, like, more hockey vibes. So I'm really kind of excited about this. So it's our next pick on the TBR. Okay. Book number 8. Your turn. I won't look. I won't look. This one, right? Right? This one. Okay. Book with the cover you don't like. One thing about me, this prompt was kind of hard. This one, I think, was like the hardest one so far to even like pick a book off the shelf. Because I like pretty books. If the cover isn't really pretty, I'm probably not gonna buy it. I do be judging the books by their covers. Okay. So kind of finding a book that I didn't think was that with the cover that I didn't like was kind of hard. The first book that I had picked is The Possibility of Now by Kim Culbertson. The like people on the cover, I think people like, I have some like film covers and then like that I enjoy, and the selection series has people on the cover that I have some other books that have people on the cover that like I don't mind, but this one I just don't like. I think that's why I still haven't read it yet. I think this is like a YA novel, I think. Yeah, this is like a YA book. Let me know what you guys think about these covers too. Let me know if you guys don't like them as well, so I can know if it's just me or if like they're not the best covers. Next one is A Rosie Project by Grammy Simpson. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I don't like the yellow. I think it's like a lot. I think the yellow is like a lot. It's very bright. It's very bright. The premise of this book is rather cute. This genetics professor creates a survey to like find a candidate like as a wife, and I think that's like very logical. He wants to like create a logical way of finding a partner, and I think this is a very like fun premise. I got this book as a blind date with a book on Etsy, and it seems very fun. I've never heard of this book before, so kind of excited. And then the next book, I've had this book for like a while, so it's kind of beat up. It's The Vampire Diaries. It's the books Awakening and The Struggle. There's 2 books in here. I'm only saying I'm not like a huge fan of it because like there's not like it's so 2000s the cover, but there's like not like much like happening like on the cover, and I just don't really like this font. I think if this like font was different, I would like it more, but this font I'm like not a huge fan of. But oh, I was looking at the inside of this book, and this paper is like raised, like it's textured. It's very nice. You can't see the texture on it, but it's like there's like a rose. Do you hear it? It's nice. It feels good. But I think I'm gonna go with The Rosie Project. This book seems very fun. It's like a romance, but it's a different kind of like, it's not like a fluffy romance. It's not like any of the other romances on the TBR that we have selected already. It seems more like, it seems very like lit fic with like a romance, like a lit fic with like a romance like subplot versus like a romance novel. Yeah, like I'm really excited about this. Yeah. All right. So that's the So that's the 8th book on the TBR. We're shooting for 12. So we have 4 more to go. I really want to try and get like a fantasy in there, and or like more lit. I want to try and get a fantasy in there, or like a thriller, or more lit fic, or some lit fic, more lit fic in there. There is 3 more books on that summer stack. 5 of the books so far in the TBR are romance. We have 1 horror, 1 literary fiction, and 1 classic. So I do read a lot of romance, so this isn't like out of the blue for there to be like a lot of romance on the TBR, but I want to try and get like more fantasy, because I do also love reading fantasy. So I want to try and pick some fantasy out to try and put on the TBR. So we got 4 more to go. My turn. I'm picking this one. Alright. Book by an author you love. This is like the perfect one to get for me just saying like I want to read some fantasy. So I already know which book I'm going to pick, so I'm going to just grab it. I'm picking Air Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I love Sarah J. Maas's writing. I think it's beautiful. I'm trying to read Throne of Glass and hopefully maybe get to Crescent City before the release of ACOTAR 5 and 6 at like the end of the year and early next year. But I at least want to get through Throne of Glass. Right now I'm currently reading Assassin's Blade. And this is perfect because I just said I wanted to read some fantasy. I wanted to get some fantasy on there. This is perfect. I'm on Assassin's Blade right now. I'm reading it in publication order and not chronological order. Chronological order? Whoa. I'm reading it in publication order because I feel like reading it in the way that Sarah J. Maas kind of intended it to read makes more sense to me personally. So I'm really excited about this.
When I finished Crown of Midnight, like I was, I think it was like my first 5 star of the year. I finished it early, I finished it like in May, but I was so like shocked. I felt like so good. Like after, you know when you actually like finish reading a fantasy, it's kind of just like any book but like a fantasy, because it always like ends in like some huge like big huge plot twist, or they drop some information on you and you gotta go read the next one to figure it out. That's what it was. And like I have like so many theories and I'm just like I need to keep going.
So, Air of Fire, it's like the first like kind of thicker book so far of the series. Yeah, we're 562 pages, but I'm excited about her. I'm excited. Okay, that was book 9. Now on to 10. Go. Go. Did you pick one? That one? Okay. Book that is a thriller / horror. Okay, I think I'm gonna go more thriller. I haven't really read any thrillers like we were saying. Oh my god, I forgot to pull this book. This is a summer one. I forgot to pull this for my summer stack. This is perfect. This is perfect. This is The Counselors. It's like a YA summer thriller book. It takes place at a summer camp. And it's called The Counselors. It's by Jessica Goodman. The Counselors by Jessica Goodman. I'm actually kind of excited to read this. I was originally thinking A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, because I haven't read it yet and I heard that it's really good, and to get into thrillers I thought reading like some YA would be nice. But I'm gonna go with this because this is a summer read. So we got a thriller and horror right here. Period. There we go with some variety. Talk about you ask and you shall receive. I said I wanted more like non-romance, and there we go. We got a fantasy and a thriller back to back. Okay, 2 more to go for sure. And I have 3 books left on the summer stack, so. Alrighty. All of these are kind of like folded in each other, so I'm always picking like the first one. A book that is a slow burn. Okay. I'm thinking like romance-wise. I'm kind of gonna pull this book from my summer ones. Is it because I want to get as many of the summer ones on the TBR? Maybe, but also when you hear my explanation, it'll probably make sense. I'm going with It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. I read The Summer I Turned Pretty a couple years ago, I think. I binged it and I read it in like a day, the first one. But the reason I'm saying slow burn is because I've watched the show, and all of the relationships between Belly and Conrad and Jeremiah, it's very like slow burn. Like you're waiting years for anything to happen, really, for things to be said. Like there's a lot of angst and everything. So I think kind of this gives very slow burn. Like maybe like it doesn't all like happen in one book. So I feel like it's kind of a slow burn. If that kind of makes sense. If you disagree, okay. But I think it's kind of a slow burn. Alright. So book that is a slow burn. We're going with It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. Next one. Is this the last one? You can pick it. That one? Alright. Free pick. Another one from the summer stack. Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. I've talked about this book like twice already. But yeah, I've talked about it twice. So I don't think I need to say more. I really want to read it during the summer, and I'm really excited about this. Yeah, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I'm going to throw the last like summer book that I had just like kind of on the TBR because it's just one more. So I think throwing it on there, like I have no problem doing that because it's just one. If it was like 3 books, I think adding it kind of on to the TBR would have been too much. But Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, we're throwing it in there. We got 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid's books on the summer TBR. I'm honestly, who knows if I'll get to all of the books during the summer. Who knows if I'll read all of them. I'm gonna read more books than this because I'm such a mood reader. So it's like, yeah, these are like the tentative, like choose from these. But I also have like all of these to choose from too. Ooh, they're falling. Alrighty, so here are all the books for the summer TBR. Let's do a quick little recap. So for a book with a musician main character, we have Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. For a book with a one-world title, we have Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. Sunburn. Book whose author's name starts with the same letter as mine. Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood. The shortest book on the TBR, What Moves the Dead by Teen Kingfisher. A book that is intimidating, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. A book with a strong female lead, Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. A book with multiple POVs, Wildfire by Hannah Grace. A book with a cover I don't like, we have The Rosie Project by Grammy Simpson. A book by author you love, Airfire by Sarah J. Maas. A book that is a thriller/horror, The Counselors by Jessica Goodman. A book that is a slow burn is It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. The free pick, I picked Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And then as our extra, we got little Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. But that's it for our summer TBR. We picked 12 books with them TBR prompts. Yeah, let me know what books you guys are reading this during the summer. What's kind of on your radar for the summer as far as your TBR goes. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know any recommendations you have for me as far as like summer books go. I was only like picking books like off my shelf because I'm kind of like on a book buying ban because I have so many. But let me know what summer books you think I should pick up. Let me know what you're reading. All right, and that's it. See you next time.